There's always going to be children who sneak through the cracks, and shit's going to happen, and you're going to have to deal with it as it comes. All you can do before that is prevention. How do we best prevent things from happening? That's what I'm concerned about. Do you still think Hunter Biden 2024? I'm riding with Biden. All right, so as far as kids using social media, I generally don't like it that much. I think that kids should be discouraged from using it. But at the same time, I also recognize that ever since the dawn of the internet, social media has kind of been the one saving grace for a lot of queer children who don't really have another outlet. So I'm mixed on it because I think in a perfect world that social media wouldn't be like we would be able to ban it outright for children, at least for 13 and under, I would say, and be totally safe and fine and cool about it. But I think in our current zeitgeist that would not be a very good thing to do personally. I understand there are a lot of risks involved with kids being online. It's just a really difficult situation because I don't want to outright ban it for kids who might have no other outlet, nothing else going, nobody else supporting them, But at the same time, I recognize that there are a lot of risks involved with it. So I'm 50-50 on it. It's really a hard nut for me to crack, honestly, and I haven't thought a whole lot about it. One thing I do know with 90% certainty is that I'm probably not going to agree very much with Matt Walsh's take on why kids shouldn't use social media, because I'm sure that he's going to have all kinds of takes about how it's transing the kids or making them gay or making them convinced that America is bad, all things that I don't really give a shit about. Segregate them from adult spaces. I would say, okay, if you're going to do that, then you need to have it be a publicly owned social media conglomerate. You know what I mean? Like doing it privately owned, I feel like has all kinds of problems, especially if it's like specifically made for kids. And then you got adults leaking in who there's all kinds of problems that comes with that too, because you could have adults leak in that aren't actually kids, but pretend to be kids, that happens. So, it's just really something you'd have to moderate well, in my opinion. But let's see what Matt Walsh has to say about it.
Legislation that would ban TikTok in the
Sorry, that's very loud.
United States, unless its Chinese owner divests from the company, is currently making its way through the Senate. It's still not clear what's going to happen to that bill exactly. It overwhelmingly passed in the House by hundreds of votes, but it appears to be significantly less popular in the upper chamber. And that's true in no small part because of the most intense lobbying campaign in recent memory.
The whole TikTok being banned thing is a completely separate issue from kids being on social media, by the way. They're connected in some ways, but they're separate issues, even if they're related. TikTok being banned is not going to solve the problem of kids being on social media. Really, at the end of the day, parents should be moderating their kids' online activity. That would be optimal if parents just did that. But alas, we live in an imperfect world, so.
Underway to kill the legislation. So that's why legislation that was just signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida is so significant. It hasn't got much attention, but it should because it addresses the legitimate concerns about apps like TikTok without granting the government any kind of sweeping new, unprecedented powers to regulate the lives of American citizens. Instead, it regulates the behavior of children in a manner that's consistent with all sorts of other regulations that already apply to minors. Watch.
His grandpa says Bryson's screen time is limited, and of course, he's entirely too young for social media. But just how young is too young?
He's too young.
Done. There you go.
Look how fat that little thing. Look how.
I would say if you're below the age of 13, you are more than likely too young to be on social media, period, end of story. I wasn't on social media when I was 12, okay? Not really.
Fat that little
I don't think
fish
kids
is.
should be either.
Talk about fat. Look at that.
What is that?
House Bill 3 would require social media companies.
Wait, why did it show a video of a fish?
Talk about fat. Look at that.
What?
House Bill 3 would require social media companies to ban accounts belonging to someone under the age of 14 to be on sites like Instagram and TikTok. Kids older than 14 would need parents' permission. The bill is widely expected to face legal challenges from the tech industry.
Oh.
So generally
I see. Okay, yeah, okay. I wasn't following the joke, but got it.
speaking, under this bill, children under the age of 14 can't have social media accounts, and 14 to 15-year-olds will need permission from their parents to have a social media account. The bill is set to take effect at the beginning of next year, although as
It's really dangerous for someone to be on the internet that is young. Yeah, I wish that this were done with the goal of protecting kids rather than the goal of making sure your kids aren't gay or trans. Because I feel like with our current zeitgeist, that's just what this is about, right? That's what I feel about it. I think in an optimal society, this would be good to do, but I don't know.
As you heard, there are undoubtedly going to be legal challenges on First Amendment grounds. Several months ago, a federal judge blocked a similar law in Arkansas, which banned minors from creating social media accounts without parental consent. But the Florida bill is meaningfully different from the legislation that was struck down in Arkansas.
Yeah, and that's another good point. How the hell are you going to enforce this? You know, like, okay, a kid gets on social media and he's not 13. Now what? Like, okay, he's 11. Let's say he's 11 and he gets on Twitter and pretends to be 14 or 15. You know, what are you going to do? Like, knock down their door? Like, I just don't think that, like, parents should be arrested for this. Like, that's the thing, really, is I don't feel like anybody should be arrested if your kid's on social media. I think as long as you're monitoring your kid's activity. Now, if you're letting your kids do dangerous shit, then yeah, you should be arrested and interrogated. True. But I think in a legal sense, it's very difficult to regulate. So that's a very good point, Travenoid. Thank you.
It's important to get into the specifics because, as we've learned, the media will misrepresent the substance of every Florida bill they possibly can. Well, they misrepresent everything all the time, but especially legislation in Florida, as we've seen, that's when they really go to town. So here are the details. The Florida bill is not a blanket ban on any particular app. Instead, it's focused on banning apps that have particular features which are designed to keep children on the app at all times. In order to fall under this ban, according to
Okay, here's the thing. If they were really concerned about ensuring the safety of children online, then you have to be 18 to access porn sites, and that works. Exactly. Right, exactly. That works perfectly. But anyway, if you are serious about ensuring the safety of children online, you're not going to be pushing for bills that make it illegal to be online if you're underage. You're going to be pushing for measures that educate parents and their children on how to be safe online, right? You're going to push for funding into these programs, you know, make it free. Make free programs that show parents the dangers of their children being online, because a good parent will want that program, you know? Make it more feasible for them to monitor their kids online and ensure that their kids aren't doing anything dangerous. I think that's better than like making it illegal.
The text of legislation. The app must have one of the following: infinite scrolling, which the bill defines as continuously loading content or content that loads as the user scrolls down the page without the need to open a separate page. 2, push notifications or alerts to inform a user about specific
I do think that, like, honestly, I wouldn't be too opposed to, like, instituting a policy where you can't just have infinite scrolling. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have a limit of, like, let's say 50. You know, once you've scrolled 50 times, you have to press next page. Has anyone told you that you kind of look like Mr. Walsh if you wore a hat? Similar voice too. I don't like that, but thank you for letting me know.
Activities or events related to the user's account.
And the reason I say that, by the way, is because like you get into doom scrolling territory. Your mind is not programmed to just stop in the middle of what you're doing. You know, you are in the process of an activity. You know, one more. This is part of the process. It's not just watching the video. It's one more. So if you make a limit on how many times you can actually scroll before hitting next page, and make that legal, I think that would be fine, personally. I think that'd be fine.
Or 3, autoplay video or video that begins to play without the user first clicking on the video or on a play button for that video. The point of the law isn't to ban content per se, it's to regulate how much of it children are being exposed to. And that's a significant distinction because there's a lot of evidence that these addictive features harm children. In fact, rewire their brains.
You know what?
Are you tired of seeing that receding hairline getting deeper and deeper? Or is that thinning spot on the back of your hair getting larger every time you look in the mirror? Well, don't worry. You're not the only one. Provia is here to help with premature thinning and loss. Don't be the guy in the group chat that everyone calls the hat fisher. Show off your beautiful head of hair, and no hat is needed. The Provia secret is a powerful natural ingredient called Procapil that effectively targets the 3 main causes of premature hair thinning and loss by supporting healthy scalp circulation, the delivery of nourishing nutrients, and healthy hair follicles anchored to your scalp. Provia guarantees more hair on your head and less in the shower. Every package includes a full 60-day supply of Provia serum plus Provia Super
Ew, that's not very polite.
Concentrate for faster, more noticeable results. You might be asking, how can it get even better? Well, right now, finish off your amazing results with their amazing Perfect Beard Treatment as your free gift at checkout. Don't wait, your full, thick...
Listen, I can't control my hairline. Come on now, I can take a joke, but come on, really?
Hair starts today. Order now and save an extra 10% at proviahair.com/Walsh. Provia works or you get 100% money back guaranteed. So ditch those hats and show off your amazing head of hair today. That's proviahair.com/Walsh.
My amazing head of hair.
The journal World Psychiatry recently published an analysis which found that, quote, the primary hypothesis on how the internet affects our attentional capacities is through hyperlinks, notifications, and prompts, providing a limitless stream of different forms of digital media, thus encouraging us to interact with multiple inputs simultaneously. Now, these are the kind of notifications that are specifically banned in the Florida bill, and there's more research along those lines.
I agree with that.
Researchers at UNC, for example, found that, quote, checking social media repeatedly among young...
Seriously, the hat looks good on you? I know, like, that's why I usually wear hats. But sometimes I wear an outfit where the bald head looks better. It just depends. I think it heavily depends on the outfit. Like, if I got the bling going on, if I got, like, a nice short sleeve shirt, that can work. Like, I don't know. I think it depends on the fit and also, like, what mood I'm in.
Teens ages 12 to 13 maybe
I missed the handlebar mustache. That was very short-lived.
Associated with changes in how their brains develop over a 3-year period. In their analysis, which was published in JAMA Pediatrics, the UNC researchers specifically determined that, quote, the brains of adolescents who check social media often, more than 15 times per day, became more sensitive to social feedback. Now, there's much more research on this point, but intuitively, we all know this is true. The social media companies know it too, which is why they have these kinds of features. Their goal is to rewire children's brains so that they seek positive social feedback from apps instead of from people in their day-to-day life.
He's not wrong, by the way. Like, this is all real. I just want to see where he's going with it.
And that is obviously concerning because when their brains are developing, children are especially prone to falling into addictive behaviors that once learned can affect them for the rest of their lives. We are mentally and emotionally deforming entire generations of children who do not know how to interact with the world unless it is filtered through a tiny screen.
Agreed.
And this isn't just concerning, this is a crisis. It is impacting the future of our civilization. If we could...
And to some extent, I do agree even with that last statement. I think it's very scary.
Look into a crystal ball and see what the world will look like 100 years from now.
What? Wait, they actually did this, the skibbity bop, whatever it is, the toilet, skibbity toilet? That's crazy. That's a wild one.
See what the world will look like 100 years from now. It would probably terrify us so much.
Okay, that's an editing W, not gonna lie.
That we would call for the ban of every social media company and every smartphone in existence.
Which, by the way, that's how you know the meme's dead.
And this is why we need to protect children in 100 years from now. It would probably terrify us so much that we would call for the ban of every social media company and every smartphone in existence. And this is why we need to protect children in particular. We already protect them from all kinds of other things that we have judged to be toxic or inappropriate for them. We don't allow children to say, say gamble, to say gamble. We don't allow children for them. We don't allow children to say, to say gamble or smoke or drink alcohol. We also already regulate how companies can engage with children on the internet. There's something called the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, for example. And among other things, that law requires the websites get parental consent before they allow children to post photos, videos, or audio recordings of themselves or any other,
I'd even go a step further. I would say, like, if you're a parent and your kid's posting images of themselves online, that shit better be on tight lockdown. Like, I don't even like it to begin with. Like, just don't post your kids online. Just don't do it because you're opening the doors to all kinds of things. But like if you're in a private Facebook group, like that's fine. If you're in a private server, that's fine. Like, or like via DMs, that's fine. But you gotta be really careful posting pictures or videos of children online. It is so dangerous out there. Incredibly dangerous.
Identifying personal information. This law is the reason why major social media platforms, including Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook, already prohibit children under the age of 13 from using their platforms. So what Florida's law does is slightly expand limitations like this to social media platforms that are targeting young children. Now, in response to the Florida law...
That's what his office looks like? Or did they just AI generate this? No, this shit's AI generated. No, you can't with me. Sorry. That's AI generated as Look at this and this. But I don't know. The effect is kind of funny. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this or not. I don't like it. I don't personally like it.
Social media platforms that are targeting young children. Now, in response to the Florida law, one of the most common counter-arguments you'll hear is that children will just circumvent the ban, as they've already circumvented the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. All kids have to do is provide a fake birth date, and they can make an Instagram account. But all this tells us is that the feds aren't concerned with enforcing that law. Florida is taking a different approach, and we've already seen that when states actually want to enforce these laws, they can get results. Many of the laws that we call unenforceable, it's because there's no real attempt to enforce them. But when there is an attempt, it's amazing.
But how are you going to enforce it? Okay, go ahead.
How many laws can be enforced if you actually try to enforce them?
Okay, but he didn't give any like legit examples of them enforcing laws against children being online, Like, how are you going to enforce it? Like, the way that you enforce children not drinking alcohol is not by making, arresting parents who let their kids drink alcohol. It's by making sure kids can't purchase it, It's making access to it harder, okay? If you make social media access hard for children, like if they have to jump through extra hoops and lie, that's probably the best you're going to get. There's always going to be children who sneak through the cracks, and shit's going to happen, and you're going to have to deal with it as it comes. All you can do before that is prevention, How do we best prevent things from happening? That's what I'm concerned about. Do you still think Hunter Biden 2024? I'm riding with Biden.
The other common counterargument you'll hear is that parents should be in charge of policing this sort of thing, not the government.
From now on, we're going to limit the time we spend looking at our stupid phones.
That's one of the major arguments
really
that came up in
that.
Florida. It's why DeSantis vetoed another version of legislation which would have prevented 14-year-olds from accessing these apps, even with parental consent. So the final bill was kind of a compromise.
Oh, sorry, Hunter Biden. Yeah, I'm riding with Biden. Hunter Biden, yeah.
Position, which addressed the concerns of the parental rights dissenters. But the truth is that although parents should be the ones policing their children's social media use, many parents don't. Or many parents try and they're not able to do it.
But what happened to parents' rights, man? You're such a big parents' rights advocate. What, you want to take that away from them? You're saying that parents aren't doing a good enough job? Oh, they're not doing a good enough job in this regard. But when it comes to like transphobic parents, that's fine. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah,
sufficiently. It's also true that parents should stop their kids from drinking alcohol or using tobacco products, but they don't always do that either. That's why we still have laws against those things, and most people don't think that those laws should be repealed.
I thought we were a parents' rights crowd here.
What this means is that Florida, without much fanfare, has found a solution to the TikTok debate that has dominated Congress for the past several weeks. All we have to do is what we've done before. We don't have to open the door to future government bans on Twitter or any other social media platform. We just need to do something that's fallen out of favor recently, which is to protect children from strangers on the internet and from the internet itself, which wants to harm them.
But the best way that you're going to accomplish this is through programs that you implement that are completely free of charge, that parents can go to, like education programs that parents can go to, or like pamphlets they can pick up. This is what we did with smoking, okay? The anti-smoking campaign, incredibly successful, amazingly successful. And why? It's not because we made smoking illegal. It's because we made it unattractive, okay? If you want to keep kids off of social media, make it as unattractive as possible for them, okay? Make it look boring. Make laws against like fines if you have things that might attract children. I mean, YouTube already does that in many regards, right? Like they stick Has Been Hotel with not Has Been Hotel. They've done it before though, where like they really crack down on the animation industry, which is a problem in itself. But the point is, if you can make legislation that discourages, children from going onto social media to begin with, like makes it unattractive for them, or education about why it's dangerous for children, and, not scare children, but make children aware of the dangers, then I think that would be better than implementing laws. That should be the parents' job. I agree. And that's why I said programs to educate them. Okay. So once again, it should be the parents' job to keep your kids from smoking. But what's really going to keep your kids from smoking? This black lung. Oh, you want black lung? What, you want to smoke? Okay. You want that? That's going to be your lungs if you smoke. Okay. So don't do it. Don't do it. Just saying. In a way, it is scaring them. I'm fine with scaring kids to not do dangerous things. But give them a reason. Don't just scare them for the sake of it. Give them a legitimate reason. What I'm going to tell my kids when I have them is, listen, you're going to waste your time on social media and not want to do anything with your life. It is designed to keep you addicted. It is designed to keep you, unproductive, uncreative, unmotivated, and just keep you scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Is that what you want to do with your life, son, daughter, NB, whatever? Is that really what you want? It's education, exactly. And the more the government can help with that, the better. But I don't think that we can implement like actual hard laws and reasonably enforce them. I think that would be difficult to do. I appreciate, I actually thought that was not a terrible take by Matt Walsh. It's not the worst take I've ever seen from him, certainly. But I do fear that conservatives are just using this as an excuse to keep people off of the internet so that they don't learn what being gay is or what being trans is, when you very well might be gay or trans and need a community of people to connect with, And I would hope that parents facilitate that in a safe way, but that's not always the case. So I'd rather kids have a safe environment online where they can do that, even if their parents don't necessarily approve, than make it illegal for them to be online at all. That's my main concern with making it illegal. I think that having programs to educate parents and children is the best that we can do. So hopefully we see more of that. In the meantime, I just don't trust these laws. I think that they have nefarious purposes, and that's my take. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload. If you enjoy my content, you enjoy what I do, I really appreciate any financial help that I can get. Go to youtube.com/AlecGunterTTV/join. You got some awesome benefits, such as seeing early videos, awesome emotes that you can use in the comments of YouTube videos, and a sweet badge next to your name. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd really appreciate if you join. It is cheaper than the cost of a blowjob from your mom. So with all that being said, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.